Right. All right. Du Melang. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate it. I appreciate your presence. Do say hi. Do say hi in the comments. You can already get started on sharing the live, liking it, telling other people about it. And I want to just welcome you to this live. Thank you so much, Kimara. Thank you for the likes. Let's continue doing that. And I want to really welcome all of us home. I honor your time. I honor the time that we'd set and the intention that we'd set. And so we are going to start because we'd said that we start at 1:30. Good evening, Aquarius. Good evening. Good evening. I think we're in your age. They say it's the age of Aquarius, so people have moved past that. I don't know. But I want to welcome all of us home. I want to welcome us into a safe space, into a space of understanding, into a space of questioning, into a space of knowledge sharing, a space where we are all going to be learning. We're all going to be challenging each other, understanding differently, understanding deeper, making the connections that we need to make. I want to welcome all of you here, not just as yourselves, but as representatives of those who have come before you, as representatives of yourself, and as representatives of the future generations that are to come. And so I honor you for your time, and I want to thank you so very much. Please continue as the content resonates with you. Please like, please share. Let's repost this live. Let's make sure that we share it with those around us that we want to absolutely impact in that way. I want to send a special greeting to the divine goddesses that are with us this evening. Thank you so much, Marion, tuning in from Uganda. Oh, fantastic. I appreciate that a lot. The people can say where they're tuning in from. If there are people who are across the country, across the continent, the world, please do write. I'm good, Paul. I appreciate it. The title you call me with is very big shoes to fill, so I appreciate it. Ochizuora says they're from Nigeria, so I appreciate that as well. Let me take the moment to greet the goddesses that are here. I welcome you. We're going to be having an engagement around what it means to engage as a strongly soft person. Dumelang, thank you so much. Please let's continue to like and share, and let's make sure that we get this to the relevant people. So in terms of tonight, we will be speaking a little bit deeper about the post that I had. Thank you, Slee. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the impact. I appreciate. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a receptive audience. Good evening, good evening, user. I think that is. I want to welcome you. We're speaking about being strongly soft, and we want to engage those two in a, if you will, synthesized way. Thank you for tuning in from Guyana. Greetings. I see there's a flag there from Zambia as well. So we've got a bit of a Pan-African presence. And we've also got some people from across this beautiful country of South Africa. I welcome you. This is a space to be grounded. Yes, I'm a huge Mamelodi Sundowns fan. I hope that doesn't offend anybody. That is the team that I definitely am a fan of. I come from Mamelodi, so it's a space that's very close to my heart. This is a very sacred space. Bagaitso, it's a space. Bagaitso Baholo means my elders or the beloved, the people that I'm referring to. So if you hear me use that often, that is what I am speaking about. We are here because we want to get to a space that celebrates divine femininity, that celebrates it in its multifacetedness, that celebrates it in the different ways that it exists. And so what we are trying to do this evening is to come with these different definitions, if you will, that will cause us to be able to breathe. I want to just let you know that this is a safe space, that this is a sacred space for us to be able to have this interaction, for us to be able to build on the knowledge that we have. And so I invite you, as hectic as it may sound, that we would just perhaps breathe together, that we would be able to exhale some of the tensions, some of the issues, some of the manipulations we've experienced, some of the pressures we've experienced. So I invite you to breathe in all the goodness that has followed you. Accept it. It belongs to you. It is something that is absolutely yours. And I'd like you to breathe out all of the tiredness. I'd like you to breathe out all of the pressure. I'd like you to take a moment, potentially, to also then be able to say that you are releasing some of the things that have not served you. So already that's the kind of space that we're trying to create this evening. We are getting deeper and deeper into ourselves, into the spaces that we occupy, the different spheres that we occupy, and we're coming out with a even better version of femininity. So I want us to understand that our main phrase this evening is to say softness is not weakness. It is the way that strength breathes. That softness is not weakness, but rather it is the way that strength breathes. And so we want to be able to get to a point where our divine femininity that surrounds us, the women that are around us, the women that are going after this divine femininity are able to breathe. So that is my job. It is my job to get the divine masculine to breathe and to breathe better and to not be as congested and to not be as pressured on. It is my job to get you to breathe healthily. It is my job to get you to be as alive as what your elders would have wanted. And so that is the premise of tonight. So I think it's important for us that we understand that tonight's session is going to definitely be interactive. I would invite you to please get into the chat function. I would invite you to engage with me through that way. For the first sort of hour, I'm going to be sharing some of the nuggets that my elders have put before me to share with you. And then in the second hour, definitely we'll invite that people can come up and share from their own experiences and things. And so my first question that I would like to ask, and I hope that you are ready to share with me, is I just want to ask you about a moment in your life potentially, and this is to the ladies that are on the line, to the divine feminine that is there, and I honor you. What is a moment where you stayed gentle, where you could have fought? A moment where you stayed gentle, where you could have fought, and what were the results of that particular moment? So where you stayed gentle, where you stayed soft, everybody else expected you to fight, everybody else expected you to put up a fight, but give me that moment where it is that you stayed gentle and where it was expected that you're going to fight and you did not. So please continue to interact on the chat. My first, if you will, point that I want to make is it's important that we break this myth that says softness is passivity, all right? It's important that we get to a space potentially as we define this divine feminine, that the space that the divine feminine occupies is made up of both the strength as well as the softness. So we are not trying to get to a spot where, thank you so much, African Sense Photography, we're not trying to get to a spot where we just want the one or the other. We're not trying to build just strong women that have absolutely no need for softness. or we're trying to build strong, soft women that have no need for their strength. It's important that we understand these particular things as coexisting. And because they're coexisting, and I'm going to take it like this throughout the evening, and I'm sharing this knowledge as I have received it. Softness is not weakness, and we know that. We know that indeed this softness is not a weakness, it's not passivity, but everybody potentially, not everybody, a lot of people have mistaken softness for passivity, softness for weakness. And what we want to get to is a spot where the softness is inviting, the softness is capacitating, but the softness is not taken for granted. And so I want to appeal to you to perhaps understand that your softness is not a spot that should allow for people to go all over your boundaries. Your softness is not a spot where people should be able to do exactly that which they want without any consequences. It is that softness that may potentially be attractive right at the beginning, but at the same time, it is the softness that has got to guard, because it is the softness of the feminine that allows us to get to a space of understanding her own spiritual center, understanding her creative parts, understanding her goddess-like nature, understanding exactly how she interacts with gentleness with all of those parts that exist within her. We are not trying to push her to a space where she has to constantly be strong, constantly overwhelmed, constantly tired, constantly doing and doing and doing, as opposed to being and settling and breathing. We need a divine feminine that is able to embrace the softness. And we understand in a lot of the comments that have come through, particularly on the post that I'd shared, were people that are saying, I am tired and I'm caught between a rock and a hard place. Where ladies were saying, on the one hand, I have all of these pressures that are on me. I have all of these things that I need to do. But on the other hand, I understand that these pressures that are brought to bear are not necessarily helping me, because they're moving me more and more into my masculine space. They're moving me more and more into this defensive mode, into this mode where I've got to do, and I just want to be. I want to be able to breathe. I want to be able to be softer. And so I'm appealing to you as the divine feminine here, that we would get to a place where you understand where are the moments, where are the spaces where you have been forced to do, where you have been forced to absolutely just continue on the treadmill. And you feel like perhaps tonight may be the night where it's possible for us to get into a discussion around what it looks like for you to breathe. What does it look like for you to release some of the pressure? Firstly, we need to define where the pressure comes from, and then we need to get to a space where we're understanding how to release some of that pressure, how to release, some of that, if you will, steam that's building under. Because I just want to say, right off the bat, I understand that you have been doing so much. Right? I understand that you have been moving things around. You have been trying your best. You have been putting things in place for everybody. You are the one that people are looking to make a plan. Good evening, Kingdom Lioness. Good evening, Enas as well. I understand. I understand that the people have been coming to you for suggestions. The people have been coming to you for all sorts of things. The kids are waiting for you to do something. Your partner is waiting for you to do something. The siblings are waiting on you to do something. And all of this pressure is building and building and building and building. And just for these 2 hours, I invite you, please, divine feminine, to release that pressure. I invite you to release it, not because those things are not necessary, not because those things are bad, not because those things are things you are avoiding. No, no, no. You're not avoiding responsibility. I'm just inviting you for an hour or so to be able to say, I want to focus a little bit on me. I want to focus on the things that are going to cause me to come alive. I want to focus on the stuff that are going to bring me to a place that absolutely is going to make me great, right? So it's important that we recognize that you are not the first person in your own lineage to have experienced the kind of pressure that you are dealing with now, right? So you are not the first, and what that means is that as I speak to you right now, and I take this as the privilege that it is, that I'm not just speaking to you, but rather you are a representative of all the women that have come before you to say, I recognize you. I see the things that you have gone through. I see the things that your elders have gone through. And I just want to say you are seen and you are recognized for the goddess that you are. Welcome to the space where you can rest, right? Welcome to the space where we're going to speak to your spirit. We're going to try and dismantle some of the spaces and knots that exist there. And we're not only just going to dismantle them, we're going to lay down some ropes. We're going to lay down some burdens. We're going to lay down some cares that we have carried simply because we recognize that we don't want to live only in strength. We also want to live in softness. We don't want to only live in softness. We also want to see some of the strength coming through. So it's important that we recognize that. It's important that we get to the space where these things are living in harmony. And I'm saying this as a divinely masculine man, that you have come to a spot, you have come to a place where we want you to be at your best. I also want to take this moment perhaps to say it live, because I said it in the one video. We want to be absolutely clear that there is no way we're going to thrive as a community if we don't take the moment to apologize. If we don't take the moment to apologize for pushing you towards strength that we didn't need to push you to. If we don't take the moment for recognizing what it looks like for us to have relinquished our responsibilities as men, where we've relinquished the spaces that we should have stood in order to protect you so we can see your creativity. I want to apologize for the moments where it is that there were dreams, there were things that you wanted to get to as a divine feminine being, but you were just not able to get there because of the pressure that we put on you. And by we, I mean the uncles, I mean the fathers, I mean all of these things, all of the people that have absolutely exerted this pressure. Tonight, I'm very clear that I'm speaking to the divine feminine. My mission tonight is to ease the burden of the divine feminine, the goddesses that are on the line that have joined. We dealt with the divine masculine on Monday, and we will do that every Monday. But today we are dealing with the divine feminine, and we want to be able to speak to this feminine to say, we recognize that if you are oppressed, we recognize that if you are looked down upon, we recognize that if you are not given the capacity to be your fullest selves, all of us suffer. All of us are done a disservice because we want you at your best. Society thrives when you are at your best. We as a family thrive when you are at your best. We cannot have you doing something that is below where you are supposed to be. It is about time for us to be able to take a step back from time to time and say yes to yourselves, and say yes to the kind of ideas that you have, and say yes to you occupying that divine feminine space that you absolutely have. And so I think it's important for us to understand that sometimes this hardness, this strength thing that we have come to is not something that was devised overnight. It absolutely may have been a defense mechanism. It absolutely may have been a space that women have run to because they did not have a choice. It may have been a space that women have run to because of the way that we have treated them. It may have been that it is a space that women have run to because of patriarchy, because of systems that were put in place to subdue, to oppress, to completely denigrate. And I want to be the person that says to you, you are still divine. You are still amazing. You are still the person that stands as a representative of your own elders. And I want us to perhaps take the moment to recognize the very pain that your own elders have felt, that they have transferred or transmuted to you. I recognize that this is alive. It's not a one-on-one consultation. There are all sorts of things that are going on. But I just want to recognize where we are. I want to invite you to be in this sacred space with me. I want to invite you to create that own altar for yourself, where you are able to just bring yourself and bring the people around you and bring the very same individuals that live within you to say, where are the areas where you have been hurt? Where are the hurts that are not necessarily mine, but I'm feeling them? Where are the spaces where you have experienced such deep pain? And I understand that it's not exactly the pain that is just mine, but it is pain from previous generations. Tonight we want to just recognize it. Tonight we want to just say, it's a time to breathe. It's a time to understand that you've been living in the softness for so much, or you've been living in the hardness for so much, or you've been living in the strength for so much. And I just want to affirm that it's okay for you to breathe today. It's okay for you to say, I'm tired. It's okay for you to say, I recognize this pain. It's okay for you to also be able to look at yourself and say, shucks, there are things that I have achieved and I am proud of them. Dumela, Dumela, Tlekela, Dumela, and thank you to everyone else for joining me on this live. It's a moment for us to recognize your strength, to recognize your achievements, to recognize that you are of the stock, as it were, of African women that our indigenous knowledge systems tell us are strongly, or rather softly strong. They are not strongly soft. Rather, it is indeed that they are softly strong. It's important that we get there because they have those two. Thank you so much, Enas, for the gift. They have those two things that are moving together in duality, where it is okay for the woman to show up as soft. It is okay for the woman to show up as strong. We want to get to a space where we deal with this pain, where we deal with the generations of the trauma. And I'm inviting you to get to this space perhaps tonight where you recognize your mother's pain, where you recognize your grandmother's pain, where you recognize your aunt's pain, where you recognize your great-grandmother's pain. Perhaps they may be in the room, as it were, from a spiritual perspective, and there may be things tonight that you are crying about, but they didn't necessarily happen to you. There may be some memories that are coming to you as we speak, but they may not necessarily be yours. And I just want to honor this sacred space of healing. Thank you so much, Magunen. I want to honor this sacred space of healing that we have created tonight, to recognize your strength, to recognize your softness, and to say that you are multifaceted. I also want to give you the room to be able to get to the spaces where potentially you may have been strong where you needed to be soft, and where you have been soft where you needed to be strong. Perhaps I'd like you to get to a spot where you can forgive yourself for that, where you can look at yourself and say, I am going to do better because I know better now. I'm going to be better because there are things that I recognize about myself now that I can work on, that I can move, that I can shake, that I can shift, right? So we're recognizing tonight that there have been some pains in the generations before. We're recognizing that there have been some things that we have thought are our things, but maybe they have been from previous generations. Maybe let me posit it a little bit more spiritually. There may be some things that we think are not for us, simply because strength has been the main thing that people have used to define the woman of a particular family. We may think that relationships are no longer things that we should be getting into, particularly because, the people cannot handle the strength of this family and the strength of these women. I perhaps want to say that the kind of healing that I'm speaking about invites the woman into a space where we're able to say, yes, indeed, we recognize that you have been hurt before, but perhaps can we take a journey where we can heal so that we can get to a spot where this generation is better. Thank you so much for the gifts that are coming in. Feel free to send whatever it is that you want to send. Feel free to like, to share, to repost, all of those things. What is important for me is perhaps let's invite these people to a conversation that is internal, that says, yes, there are men that have hurt you. Yes, there are situations that have hurt you. But can we get to a space where today I am going to build better ways of being? I am going to build coping mechanisms that are better. I am going to build ways that take care of us better. I'm going to build a divine feminine that requires you, dear mother, dear grandmother, dear great-grandmother, to walk alongside this space. So I think it's important that we get to this spot, that we get to the spot where we are able to say, where are the pains? Where are the places where we have thought we needed to be incredibly soft? And what does it look like for us potentially to then move into strength? Because I also recognize that we're dealing with different women, right? We're dealing with different individuals. There are some people who have typed it on the chat where they've said that they have been so hardened that they don't know what it is now to be soft anymore. And there are other people who perhaps as a result of situations have become so soft and so fearful that they don't know how to stand up in strength. And so I think it's important that we hold that space for both individuals within this life, that we don't pretend that everybody is at the same spot, right? So I want to speak potentially to the individuals that are hardened by circumstance, hardened by the need to protect, hardened by the need to sit in these spaces and they have become incredibly strong. And they wear this potentially as a badge of honor, which is okay. And at the same time, they recognize that there are parts of them that do want that softness. So I invite the people who are sitting in their strength to recognize that that is not a bad thing. But as with everything, I want to ask you, where do you need your strength and where do you need your softness? So it's important for us to get to that spot where strength is used where it is needed and softness is used where it is needed. That we don't get to a spot where you are strong all the time, because you're going to get tired. And that's the same advice that I will give to the people who are in the softness, in the fearfulness perhaps sometimes. If you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't speak up, if you don't go and say there are things that are not okay, we're going to get to a spot where you are also going to be exhausted. We're trying to deal with exhaustion perhaps tonight. We're trying to deal with tiredness tonight. And I want to recognize that if we were able to engage this conversation in its fullness, we would recognize that the divine masculine has indeed let you down. We have been those people that have let you down. We've caused you to carry responsibilities by yourself that are not necessarily just for you to carry. But tonight is also potentially around the accountability of looking at the places where you have let yourself down. To look at the decisions that you have taken that are not good for you. To look at the spaces where you need to potentially change the company that you keep, the thoughts that you keep, the things that you have agreed to, the stuff that you want to do. So it's important, right, for us to get to that spot where we're also able to claim it and say, these are the decisions that I have taken where I've let myself down, and I want to deal with those. Baby Shark says, why do parents force us to do things we don't want to do? I'm 21. Let's get to the spot potentially of understanding exactly where you are and working with what it is that you have to work with. If there are decisions that have been made on your behalf and you don't agree with those decisions, you have a choice. Either you can excel at the decision in order for it to get done and you can move on to the thing that you want to do, or you can speak. And speaking doesn't have to be disrespectful, but speaking has to be robust. It has to be direct. You have to be able to say that these are the things that I don't necessarily want to do. I'm doing them for you. I recognize the wisdom that you exercised in doing it, but I want to get to a spot where my abundance feels led, and these are the things that are actually going to get me to be there. Imbosa says, when I get sad, I get mad. I can't allow myself to be sad, then get anxious or in a hurry to get out of that, as it were, need to feel. So let's also set a few people free, both men and women that are on this live. Your emotions are not a sin. They've never been a sin. Your need to cry is not weakness. It's never been weakness. There may be some things that are birthed within that crying session that you desperately need. And so you're preventing yourself from certain levels of healing that you could get by just simply not crying. And I want to perhaps get to a spot where sometimes the tears that you are refusing to come out are not just yours. This is a theme going on tonight. Sometimes the tears that you are refusing to cry are not just yours, but they are tears from generations before. And so it may be that you are being asked to cry not just for your own sake, but you are releasing some pains from people in previous generations. Let me perhaps leave that there. It's important that we also understand that emotion is strength. Emotion has wisdom. Emotion has place. We can't say that there's everything wrong with people being emotional. It is about the wisdom and the intelligence that comes from the emotion that we need to understand on how to use, right? So this thing, to your point, Marion, where it is that women have been labeled emotional, men are far more emotional than women in certain respects. But it is that both of us as humans are emotional. Sometimes this strength, Kingdom Lioness, that we speak about is something that we need to correctly place. And I want to say this as well, because it is important for us to put all the caveats in place. If you are somebody who is living in your divine femininity and you come across people that perhaps in your estimation are not necessarily doing that, we're not passing any judgment, but you come across people who are still scared to occupy their fullest selves, who are still scared to stand up for themselves, you will be perceived in a way that is less than friendly. And because you are perceived in a way that is less than friendly, you have a choice to perhaps be a little more understanding in that space and move through with the people to get to the objective that you have with those people, or to potentially be able to be used as a conduit to educate without condescension yourself. So you'll be able to say, these are the things that we're actually looking for. These are the things that the woman in 2025 is looking for. We are multifaceted. We're not just, as it were, going to be people that are barefoot and in the kitchen and so forth. No. We're going to be powerful. We're going to be seeking after the dreams that we want. We're going to be chasing the things that our ancestors may have given up on. But we're also going to be soft. We're going to understand that there are spaces where we're going to move in where our strength is not required, but rather our softness is the thing that's going to get us over the line, right? So it's incredibly important that we get there, that we get to a spot where our being is carried by ourselves, that we carry our emotions, we carry our hearts, we carry our souls properly, that we don't let it drop simply because other people have let theirs drop. Incognito says, how can I prevent myself from over-providing in relationships? I think if you're in the relationship and you feel like you're over-providing, it means that the other person is also not providing. And so there needs to be a balance. And one day we'll speak about mutual providence, because it's a thing. It's a real thing. And we need to engage it properly, right? Mutual providence is a thing. Mutual nurturing is a thing. Mutual giving is a thing. Mutual commitment is a thing. We get into relationships not to occupy roles, but to make each other better, right? And to make an impact in community. When we reduce ourselves to roles, we're going to get to a space where we're going to miss out on so much more than what the people have to give. If you're saying you're too kind, bespoke, and ready to wear Abuja, then we must recognize where it is that you are too kind. Because if you're too kind to kind people, they're going to return the kindness. But if you're kind to people that don't return it, then of course you're going to feel depleted. You're going to feel some type of way. So it's important that we get to that spot. Right? So Kanyisa here says also, trying to learn to be soft with myself so I can be soft for my future partner. I want to repeat something that I said when I was speaking about the divine masculine. And I think the divine feminine does this incredibly well, and you guys do it better than us guys. Love yourself. The people now have a term called romanticizing your life, right? But in addition to that, I urge you very much to look at yourself with love. I urge you to look at yourself as the goddess that deserves the kind of love that you're giving, and then first start and give it to yourself. That being soft with yourself also involves understanding when it is that you need to be a little bit more harder on yourself, because you expect the best from yourself. And so because you expect the best from yourself, you are willing to give it to yourself. And so these things where people go on solo dates, retreats, hikes, whatever the case might be, and you're able to buy yourself a meal, you're able to sit there, and we call it self-care, and that's wonderful. That is good for the soul. it is important for you to look at yourself and agree that you are a goddess, and agree that you are good, and agree that you are absolutely grounded. Right? You're not floating, and you're grounded in the truth. You're grounded in the truth of your existence. You're grounded in the truth of your own softness and your own strength. And those two things are in a dance with each other, because sometimes you're going to need to be soft, sometimes you're going to need to be strong. Solomon Saul speaks about the fact that we are spiritual beings. Absolutely agree. It is what it is there, and we're having this human experience. And while we're still on this earth, while we're still having this human experience, let's connect with spirit, and let's connect with ourselves and allow for ourselves to get into that space of healing. Sabona Matube. I think it's important that we also enjoy the space of truth. Sometimes we have ignored our own intuition, our own gut feel, our own feelings that told us and taught us that spaces are dangerous for us. But we completely did it. We went ahead. There were dreams that were sent to say to us, and I dare say that I think that the spiritual realm tells you that you are becoming a little too soft, or you're becoming a little too strong, and tries to bring you back to that balance. Because when you are balanced, when you are in that midpoint, you are then able to hear better. You're able to connect better. You're also not, because you're operating from, you see, this is the other danger of having the one lens on for too long, is that sometimes you're going to interpret stuff from the one lens. And so if you're constantly in protect, defend, attack mode, when something good that requires your softness comes through, you're going to protect, defend, attack. But when you're incredibly vulnerable and soft on the one hand, when something requires you to be strong and to, come against it and to defend yourself, you're then vulnerable to that space. And so I implore you potentially to get to a spot where the spirit, source, the universe, your practice can bring you to that place of balance where you can recognize that I don't need to be this soft in this space, or I don't need to be this hard in this spot. Lady D there punting her book. Please let's go and find out about Lady D43's book. Be your dream girl first. That's what Rekhomoditswe speaks about, and I think that that's incredibly important for us to get to. In addition to being your dream girl, and that's the question, Wanja, how do you master that point of balance? I think you also then recognize, and this is another point that I wanted to come to, is that any divine being is made up of both the masculine and the feminine. And because you are made up of both exist within you. Let's also not make the mistake of assuming that the divine masculine is the protective force, because there are some elders in my spiritual walk where I've seen women protect their own far better than men. I have also in my spiritual walk seen men nurture their own far better than some women. So we can't reduce the feminine, masculine to those roles. But what we can say is you will see the output, the results of that sort of dance around the divine feminine, particularly in your abundance, right? So it's important that we get to a spot where the abundance of the divine feminine is seen, right? Sylvia says you have to recognize your strength and weaknesses and embrace both. Absolutely. So in embracing both the strengths and the weaknesses, you're then able to look at yourself. And I make this example a lot. It is the one way that I understand, the way that the world works. It is the view that has been given to me. So that is where I understand it. So what I mean by this view is I see the divine feminine as a garden, or as a, if you will, a wilder space, a space that is full of abundance, a space that is thriving by itself. It is a space that can grow in any which way, right? But also, I recognize that the divine feminine, wild garden, wild space, mountainside, whatever you want to call it, requires an ecosystem to be managed and to grow well. Now, please hear my language. I am not imposing a system or standard on you. This is how I view the divine feminine. So if we are saying the divine feminine is this garden and is doing well, the garden, the wild space, nature and science tell us that we've got to have ecosystem. And the ecosystem must be managed. And it must be managed in order to grow. So even within the space of the garden, even within the space of this wild space, we recognize from watching all these documentaries, from seeing nature itself, that the space is governed. It is regulated. There's a certain number of trees, there's a certain number of worms, there's a certain number of plants, there's a certain number of animals. The ecosystem is the one that keeps this wild space thriving. The job of the divine masculine is to regulate the ecosystem. The job of the divine feminine is to remain abundant. We will recognize that you are in balance when you remain abundant. We will recognize that you are living in balance when you are able to multiply. We will recognize that you are living in balance, living in your divine femininity, when your ecosystem is indeed balanced. Because you also do have some divine masculine within you. You have elders that are masculine, that want to see you do well, that want to see you increase. And so it is our job, and perhaps tonight that's exactly what I'm doing through this live, right? I am plowing into your soil. I am removing weeds of doubt. I am removing weeds of pain. I am removing the branches that are no longer giving any fruit, pruning them to say it is your job now to remain fruitful, to say here is a tree of pain that is not doing you any good. Can we take it out? Here is a tree that is growing wildly, and how do we get to the spot where we can now prune this tree to give it some shape and direction? Simply because if this tree is allowed to continue growing as wildly, we are not going to have space for the shrubs underneath it to get some sun. There are things that you are good at, that you do, that you are amazing at, but there are also other things that you are called to that require your attention, and you don't want to do them because the tree of what you're good at is growing so wildly that you don't have room for the little shrubs of purpose that are also supposed to become trees. It is the balance. It is you understanding that, yes, I have fed this tree. I've made sure that this tree is growing. I've made sure that this tree is doing well. But there are other purpose areas that I need to pay attention to. And in paying attention to them, when I do that, my abundance increases. When I do that, my ability to multiply increases. Because what do I do when I do that? I attend to the ground. I attend to the trees. I attend to the flowers and the shrubs and the trees that are within me. And as that divine feminine, when I tend to those trees, I am not just doing it as myself. The people who have come before me, the women who have come before me, I address their need as well, to address those trees, to address those shrubs, to address those plants. You cannot be a garden that is absolutely just producing fruit trees. That's going to tire you. You've got to have moments where you produce beauty that has absolutely no function. Yeah? You can produce beauty that does not have utility. You can just be beautiful for the sake of being beautiful. You can be amazingly sensual for the sake of it, not to get to reproduction, not to get to a particular goal. You don't, the other side of that is absolutely key for us to remember as well, is that you can't be a garden that just produces flowers. The flowers will wilt and we will starve. If you are a garden that produces only fruit, we will eat of your fruit, but because you're producing so much fruit, the fruit will drop from the trees or wherever they are, rot and get into the ground. It is the balance. There are also medicinal plants that you must produce within yourself. You can't just be producing fruit. You can't just be producing beautiful things. You must heal. It is within your ambit, because you are abundant, because you are divinely feminine, because you are a creator, because you are a portal to the spiritual world, and so therefore you must heal. Your garden can't just be one thing. It cannot just consist of the one thing. You cannot just be a corporate girly. You cannot just be a creative girly. You cannot just be a healer. You are a full individual. You are a goddess that is full. You are divinely feminine in totality. You can produce beauty that has no utility. You can produce beauty that has utility. You can produce medicinal things. You can produce fruit. But the other thing that you've got to potentially also recognize and know is that you've got to know when to rest and stop producing. You've got to know when to let your land lie fallow and stop producing. You are not meant to produce all the time. You are not meant to produce beauty all the time. I want to perhaps just say this to you. Looking good all the time is too much pressure. Being productive all the time is too much pressure. Being a healer all the time is too much pressure. You're allowed to be hidden. And perhaps let me bring this in. Your divine representation has always been Luna, has always been the moon. The moon waxes and wanes. She has cycles. She has all sorts of things that come through, right? She doesn't shine all the time. Why do you want to shine all the time? Sometimes the fact that you're shining all the time is what gets you in trouble, because now we're going to put a spotlight on you. And the idea that you had is not yet ripe. The tree that you're watering still requires some time. And now the spotlight is on you because you want to shine all the time. Equally, you can't be in the dark all the time. You can't sit at the back all the time. You can't be this person that says, I'm not going to do things that are going to put me in the spotlight because I don't necessarily like it. No, you are divinely feminine. You are divinely feminine. And your femininity requires you to step into the spotlight, because the tree is beautiful when we see it. The tree is not beautiful when it is hidden. The flower has absolutely no beauty if it is hidden. The flower must be viewed, but it must be viewed for a season, and then we look away and we continue watering it. We continue moving with it. We continue moving with it. We're not here to look at you all the time in your flowers. We're not here to eat fruit from you all the time. That's too much expectation. But what we do expect is that you grow. What we do expect is that you grow. That you do grow the fruit. That you do grow the flowers. That you do grow the healing stuff. That we get to a space where you are balanced. And it's okay. It's okay to try new flowers. It's okay to try new fruit. It's okay to try new shrubs. It's okay for grass to grow in there, right? It's incredibly important so that we can get to a space of discovering this goddess-like space, of discovering what it looks like to move in that space, what it looks like to sit in your divine femininity. I want to tell you very quickly before we are able to let some people come through. Anything or anyone that wants to box you into one particular space, that wants to say you are just fruit, you are just healer, you are just function, you are just beauty, has completely missed you. Has completely missed you, has completely missed the things that you're about. And if you are presenting yourself as just fruit, as just healer, as just flower, rather, let's say, if you are presenting yourself as just your body and your beauty and orgasms and pleasure, you're not doing us a service. If you are presenting yourself as just the corporate, the achievements, the business, the money, you're not doing us any favors. If you present yourself as just the healer, the one that can take on all of our burdens, wonderful. How's that working for you? How's that been so far? If you reduce yourself to one thing in the feminine, we're all going to suffer. And so it is that midpoint, it is that balance that causes us to move and to grow. Because there are going to be occasions that require your medicinal plant, but you're going to give us beauty. What's going to happen there? I require substance from you and all you're giving me are curves, boobs. It kind of seems out of place. What are we going to do with your beauty when we require function? When we require you to get into the space and deal and deliver? And then, of course, there are going to be spaces where I absolutely require you to be as ravishing as you want, as elegant, as stunning, as distinguished, as sensual, as whatever. And then you're going to bring your fruit, your work ethic. What do you mean? What does that look like? Your balance is one of the most beautiful things to watch. Your balance is one of the greatest things to watch. Because there are moments where your beauty is going to land you the contract. It is what it is. And our elders were not afraid of using beauty, were not afraid of using sensuality, not sense. We're not afraid of that. And perhaps it's okay for us to get back there, where you can sway your way into a contract if it's needed. Hear me well, no? I said sway, not sleep, sway. But what is of value is that very contract has got to nurture your ground. It's got to nurture who you are. It's got to nurture what you're bringing. It's got to bring out the best of you. Don't be afraid of the strengths that you have been given. The body is a strength. Your beauty is a strength. Your ability to walk into a space and you heal is a strength. It's incredibly important for us to be at that spot where we recognize what we are doing, how we're doing it. No, it can't be wrong. Kingdom Lioness, it can't be wrong. Why would the elders give it to you if you are not allowed to use it? It is the wisdom on how to use it that potentially needs some attention, right? Like, let's be clear about the wisdom on how to use it. There are spaces you're going to walk into and people are going to marvel. They're going to marvel. Why would it be given to you? I mean, Sylvia mentions here that beauty is extremely powerful. Absolutely it is. So we've dealt with your strength, right? And notice how we've gently just gotten you to be soft. Your beauty is soft. It's not hard. Absolutely soft. And so you're able to get to a space where your softness works. Some of this sentence, I will not filter it. I'm saying it exactly as they are saying it. Some of the prayers that have been prayed have not been answered because they were said from a place of strength and hardness. Softness is required. Softness is being asked for. And when we deal in softness, we will realize potentially that these prayers have already been answered and we can tap into them. That there are certain people that have been placed around you that absolutely can help. But all you need to do is be soft and get into the beauty and get into the fruitfulness and get into the medicinal. Because that's the garden. Don't just pay attention to one thing. Being soft is not weak, Ntabi saying. Being soft is incredibly powerful. Being soft is incredibly powerful. You know, there are some things where there are wars that are being fought because people used their softness on some world leaders. Men respond to all of the things I've just mentioned. The softness, the beauty, the strength, the medicinal, we respond to everything. But what is critical to note is how you use it, for what purpose, and how you get to the next step. We have seen women who have used their softness to their own detriment. And we have seen women who've used their hardness, their strength, their fruitfulness to their own detriment. How do you do it? May I invite you please to also like, to repost, to share. I don't know. Let's get to 100,000. We're on 40,000 likes at the moment. Why don't we get to 100,000? I implore you that potentially we get there, we share. You can gift if you want, but that we would get to a space where we can get to 100,000. We've got about 60,000 or so to go. And you are able to do it. I'm going to open up the floor for about an hour or so. I'd like you to please, come through and share your perspective, share on the things that I have shared on. And let's see if there are people who have burning questions, people who have all sorts of views. You can come in and remark on the stuff that I've said. Please, if you disagree with me, that's okay. We get better and better as we, grow and disagree. Guys, look at that. Just in a minute, we've reached 43,000. So let's make sure that we can get to that 100,000. Who knows? I would like to invite people, please, to come through and to share on this, as it were, space around the divine feminine and around some of the things that I have spoken about. I don't want to point to anybody, and I know that there have been people that have been speaking in terms of the chat. I invite you, please don't be shy. Come through, request. We can have the conversation. I'm not the bearer of all wisdom. We're able to share the space. And of course, preference tonight will be given to women who come on and want to have the discussion. I'm being led to speak about the soil, right? And so the soil is a space that keeps history, okay? And because the soil is a space that keeps history, the soil is a spot where, thank you so much for the gifts, that the soil is a spot where there's going to be some stuff that are put in there. Right. So what that means is there going to be some historical stuff that are placed in the soil, bodies that decompose of previous trees, previous things that have happened. I want to ask you, the word is please fertilize your pain. Please fertilize your disappointment. Please take the experiences that were meant to try and break you and break them down and get to the space of the lessons within them so that your soil can be richer and richer and richer. So that's the thing, right? That's the thing. Esther says, being whole and balanced, is there a way to detect time wasters, immature people? It depends, right? It depends. And I think that what is time wasting to you may be appropriate to someone else. So I think we're very clear that we don't want to give sort of a blanket answer in terms of everybody. But what will waste your time, particularly you, are people who are not aligned to your purpose. Another thing that potentially I am being led to, and I think that was what your question was meant to provoke in me. Dear woman, you are a carrier of purpose. You are a carrier of vision. You are a carrier of great destiny as much as the man is. It is okay for you to invite a man into your vision and your destiny. It is okay for you to move to a place where your vision demands the movement and integration of a man. There's nothing wrong with that. Your vision is important. Your own sense of movement and direction is important. It is as important as your partners. Good evening, Naledi. James, I'll come back to you. The reason why I am saying that it's important is because I think perhaps there are some of our elders, there are some of the women that have been here that have been told that their gifts, their talent, their vision, their ways of being are not as important as those of their husbands or their partners. May I please free you from that misnomer? Your vision is incredibly important. The purpose of the home that you were born into is incredibly important, because if you did not have the anointing that you have, if you did not have the gifting that you have, if you were not abundant in the way that you are abundant, why in the world would I look at you and want you to be a wife or a partner? Because if you were not flourishing where you are, then why am I taking a garden that is not fruitful to come and that I would put my seeds into? You are already fruitful. You are the ground for my seeds. So you've got to get to the person that will recognize that your ground is as equally valuable as his seed. Let's not downplay it. The seed is important. Let's also not downplay it. The ground is important, because the ground is the one that has the nutrients that are going to make the seed grow. We're not going to grow the seed if the seed is in the air. The seed needs to be put into the ground. But guess what? There are some seeds that have been rejected by the ground simply because the men of particular generations have continued to ignore the seed and the ground of the generations that they are coming into. So there are women in your lineage who refuse with their fertility. They refuse with their abundance. They refuse with their multiplication because they've been ignored. Because their vision has been ignored. Because their way of being has been ignored. Because their practice has been ignored. Because their systems of divinity have been ignored. You were told that it's important for you to engage the earth, but you have decided to engage the water. You were told that it's important for you to keep the fires of home burning, but because you have gotten to a man who is an earth element person, he does not have capacity to now sit with you and keep your fires burning so that his own fires would be ignited. Where in the world are we going to get the balance and the multiplication that we seek if you are ignored, if you are completely devoid of any intention, of any kind of movement? There's nothing about you that we want to see. You leave, and after leaving your family, you leave your gifts, you leave your everything. We who know some of the secrets and the truth to that, we are asking you to leave some things, not all things. We're asking you to stay on some things. We're asking you because we've seen that there is a particular abundance that is in this space. But in order for me as a man to access that abundance, I need to please not only you, I need to please the ground. And the ground that you occupy, or the ground that is within you, is the ground that is made up of your grandmothers and your great-grandmothers and your great-great-grandmothers. And if all of them have been ignored and I come and I ignore you, there will be absolutely no multiplication. There will be absolutely no abundance. And I dare say that some seeds are too small for the kind of ground that you carry. Some seeds are just too play for the kind of ground that it is that you were born into. And so these old women want better seeds. These old women want better ground from you. Yeah? These old women want you to be the divine feminine that can be worshipped. And my problem is that you are the kind of woman that doesn't want to be worshipped. You are the kind of woman that is content with just being ordinary. You are the kind of woman that is content with just being a woman. We're requiring you to be a goddess. We're requiring you to be a creator, not just of babies. We're requiring you to stand so that this man can understand what it is to approach your altar, so that this man can understand what it is to be drunk in the presence of your femininity. And dare I say, yes, oh, you see, now I'm going to get into trouble. There are some of you where the dance of femininity is not just yours and his. Some of the families, this is my own people coming through. Some of the families require more than one of you to engage. Let me leave it. But you are jealous. You are dismissive of women that need to be a part of the system that needs to. This is you, this is the other person. You are shifting away from what potentially could be, because if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, of you were to come together to carry some particular seed, let me leave it alone, because it's not for everybody. And I recognize that it's not for everybody. But there are these old women that are also telling me, don't leave us behind. Not all of us were monogamous. Not all of us were polygamous. Not all of us were this. Not all of us were that. Stop casting us in one particular sort of vein. We are so many people. We are so many things. We are not just one thing. We exist in multiplicity. You know, there are some of us who potentially used to have more than one partner ourselves, you know, and it was recognized and agreed with. It was agreed to, in fact, that this woman, her ground required more than one person to work it. So it's important that we understand that femininity is indeed divine. It is divine. It is a space that can understand secrets. Madam, you are the one that when you come into my family, you are the one that will be told some things that were never told to me. You will be told some stuff that were not spoken to me, simply because your ground can contain them, simply because your mind can imbibe of them, your spirit can see them. You are the one that will tell me, my boy, you're dreaming too small, you are seeing too little, you need to move up, you need to understand yourself a little better. It's important that you understand how to protect your space, to protect who you are, to protect the things that you come with to that particular space and relationship. And the best place that you can indeed grow is the family that you are born into. Start there and make them better. If I don't see evidence of your abundance there, I don't see evidence of your abundance in my home as well. And that is a fact. If you're unable to be abundant by yourself, you won't be abundant with me. If you are unable to be abundant in yourself, you will not be abundant with me. Why in the world would you be abundant with me if you are not able to multiply for yourself? If all you're used to is beauty when it comes to you, that's what you're going to give me. And I need more than that, unfortunately. Me, I'm a divine masculine gent, you know, so your beauty is wonderful for that evening. But when we wake up in the morning, I'm going to be asking your elders some questions, and they need to answer me in the affirmative so that I can get the kind of promotions and meetings that I need, so that I can be able to bring the kind of things that I need to bring in the home. Because if I don't bring them, then they're going to be sad at me, because we had agreements, right? We had agreements getting into the relationship where your people told me that if I do X, Y, Z, they are going to meet their end of the bargain. But here we sit with you who is not abundant, and so we can't get to the agreements that we have. Why? 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 Here we sit with you that refuses to be abundant. We had agreements. I spoke to your people spoke to me. They said, if you do this, we'll be able to get you and unlock these things. But here their daughter sits, giving beauty when we need fruitfulness, giving medicine when we need fruitfulness. Why? Because she's a one-dimensional woman. Because she refuses to see herself as anything other than just beautiful. Because she believes the lie that society has put on her, where she says, I am just here to enjoy your money. Sylvia says some women are supposed to lead a man into abundance. In fact, not even some, I say, Sylvia. And maybe let's qualify it, né? Divine feminine women are supposed to lead men into abundance. Absolutely. Do you know that your money, let me say it this way. There are men who do incredibly well and only do incredibly well when they have a woman beside them. There are women who do incredibly well when they have a man beside them. What that also then means is my abundance is not mine. My abundance is not mine. I bring the abundance home so that this person can engage with it. Ndabizeng, your fiance has unlocked the code to life. It is important, and Lady D, we're going to deal with that as well. You say you do so well when you're on your own. I want to ask the question, if you have a person that is nurturing you, that is doing all the right things, do you still do as well, right? So the kind of well that I'm speaking about is also the well that is abundance, right? Multiplication, like it's not just moving from 40,000 salary to 80. It's moving from 40 to 200 to 500, if we want to speak about salary, all right? So for me, what's critical is to recognize as a man that this woman needs to be abundant. This woman is amazing. This woman is producing fruit, producing beauty, producing medicine. And so my job is to make sure that the system works. My job is to make sure that this person is doing well. So if that is my job, that's the only thing that I've got to do. I plant seeds from time to time of plants that are needed for our family's sake. I agree with you. That's fine. We move through. Then your job is to increase, be abundant. And so because that's the job, to be abundant and to be great, when you are abundant, you then are able to bring that abundance home. Follow me, please, because I think there are some elder ladies who are communicating this message. You can bring the abundance home. There's nothing wrong with your money. There's nothing wrong with your abundance. There's nothing wrong with us engaging you on your abundance, particularly because you are the abundant one. My work is to make sure you are abundant. Your job is to be abundant. My work is to dig in the ground, is to prune the trees, is to show you where stuff are going wrong. Take care of it. Make sure the ground is nurtured. Make sure that you are being watered. Make sure that you are doing all the things that you need to do. Your job is to grow. Your job is to be fruitful. Your job is to be medicinal. Your job is to be beautiful. When those things are not happening, we're going to look at you. If I am giving my best, we're going to look at you. So, yes, of course, we've been programmed to seeing women as one-dimensional. That is the loss. That's why I'm here. I'm being asked by these elders to speak differently. Ooh, Sylvia, you have hit the nerve. Because we walk in ego, because we walk in all of these things, we are unable to let you loose because we can't handle you at 100%. So we'd rather keep you at 50. We've seen what you could be. We've seen the 100. But we can't. And that is the problem. Makesi says, is it possible for men to find abundance outside of the marriage? Yes, they still have women that are around them. They have mothers, they have sisters. I dare say that there are some men who have female best friends for this particular reason. Because we need each other, right? So we're not going to escape it. We need each other. Hey, the stuff I'm speaking also, by the way, don't have to be romantic. They don't have to be romantic. There are some men who are doing exactly what I'm speaking for you, but they're not your partners. And you're still abundant. And then you go and you take the goodness that that man has given to you, the support that that man has given to you, the pruning that he has given, and then you go and give it to a man who just said, I love you. Why are you like this? Stop being like this. And this is the one thing that I will say. You can potentially say it's not nice and you don't like it. Give fruit to the people who worked the ground. Give fruit to the people who worked the ground. You can't, in good conscience, go and take fruit that person X worked and give it to person Y. You are starting nonsense. You are starting nonsense. And we will tell you for free. I'm telling you for free, you are starting nonsense. The one that tills the ground is the one that deserves to eat the fruit. Please don't miss me, ne? Don't, you decide. Again, you decide who is going to till the ground. So because you decided who is going to till the ground, please also decide that you are going to let that person enjoy the fruit. I can't in good conscience be there, ready, willing, able, give of myself to you, and there's no reward. Reward must be defined. No? Let's define it. We must define what reward looks like. So if you get the promotion based on the advice of the person that has been giving of himself to you, tilling the ground, please, you must come back to that person and give reward. You cannot. Either the person that you are with, you are going to teach them on how to plow the ground that is you so that you can give that reward back. But there is a demand. There will be a demand. And some of us, if we are realizing that we are not the ones that are plowing and yet you are growing, we must step back, Shem. And we must let the reward happen. We must let the reward happen. And this is the space. This is why there were times where it was that in certain cultural norms, if the wife were to step out on the husband and have a baby with somebody else, culture would protect the husband by saying that that baby belongs to him because he's the one that went and did the marriage process. So everything that happens in that garden belongs. There are going to be people who will plant seed, Baba, and will water the seed and will make sure that the trees grow. And those trees will be the ones that are remembered. But here we are, you are the husband by name. But the gardener is somebody else by function. So I urge you to surround yourself with gardeners. But be clear about the fruit. Be clear about where the reward is and how you're going to give it. Remember how I said that beauty is powerful. There are some gardeners who are just interested in flowers. There are different tiers of gardeners. Ne? Oh, okay. I mean, I'm not allowed to say that. Sorry. I've been stopped. It's the first time in my entire life where that's happened. So I've been stopped. Yeah, apparently you guys are going to hear it incorrectly the way that I'm saying it. We're not yet there. So I will stop. But let me get back to the spot that says reward must be given to the gardener that worked or works the garden. If there is a gardener in your life that has been working the garden and you are denying him reward, your own people will deny the soil until you rectify it. Now, here's where the challenge happens. In your divinity, in your femininity, in your amazingness, you then have people who, have had others that have worked the soil. There have been other gents that have worked the soil. And because some of your people were sneaky, they've left without bringing reward. Now, because you have people who are principled, they have stopped the reward until you rectify. You know, there are some people now, perhaps it might be some of yourselves that are listening here. It's important that you get to the place of understanding that there are some debts that are owed, where if you pay them, what happens is your abundance and multiplicity ability would increase. And now when I say debts, a lot of people get to this place where they then feel very, very uncomfortable and it's very, very hectic. But I'm speaking about men that have done amazing things, women that have done amazing things to your family, to other people, but they just have not been recognized. There are people who have served your family, have served your grandmother, have served your great-grandmother, but you just don't want to recognize them. All you recognize is your own grandfather. You recognize your own uncle. What about the uncle 2 houses down, where for 5-6 years he was able to come every morning or every other morning, helping your grandfather, helping your grandmother. When your grandfather was away, your grandfather was able to say to this person, please look after my family. What about those people? Are we not able to give reward to those people? And then the question that has got to be asked is, what does reward look like? It might just be a meal. It might be a spa treatment. It might be a heartfelt thank you. It might be money. It might be whatever it is, but you are divine. And I want you to be completely abundant. But for us to get to the abundance, the ground needs to be right. And if the ground is screaming at you, saying you need to reward somebody for work that they've done, please go and reward them. But there are friends that you have had, there are males that have been in your life that have toiled in your garden. You are wonderfully, wonderfully great where you are because they've toiled. Yes, some of them wanted to be in relationship with you in a romantic sense, and they've settled for being your friends, but do not take it for granted that these people are just going to be content with what it is that you are giving. Lady D, how you reward them is up to you. It is up to you. I'm not encouraging unscrupulous behavior. Please, it is up to you. It is incredibly important that we get to the space where these people are rewarded. And when they're rewarded, it means the ground is now able to be abundant, and then you continue moving. You continue doing amazing things. You continue being as amazing as you need to be. It is the divine feminine. And let me tell you, ne? Mina, I am one of them. Whatever I'm busy plowing into your life. Daddy, thank you. I'll wait for it. Thank you very please. Because we can't be in the situations where indeed we are giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and we're plowing the soil because we want you to be divinely feminine. We want you to be divinely abundant. And one of the most beautiful ways that you can reward me is to indeed speak blessings, speak success, speak greatness and wealth over my life because you are abundant. It's important. It's important. Outside of that, if you are led, no problem. if you are led to doing beautiful things, please go ahead. But what's critical, and this is the principle. Let me let you into the thing. This is the principle that religious institutions have called honor. It's simply rewarding the worker. That's all it is. That's the principle at its base, is rewarding the worker. When we enter into spaces where people are going to give us great things, we don't come empty-handed. And that includes your friendships. That includes the relationships around you. You don't come empty-handed to spaces where you're going to benefit. You don't just bring yourself. Sometimes the reward is you working your hands and going and saying, okay, I need to do this for this person. Absolutely, I agree with you, parents as well, Kingdom Lioness, the parents that plow. Not the parents that are parents by name. We want parents that function, right? That's important. Would that be the concept of lobola? That one is actually very different. And I want to say this. I'm allowed to say it. Sometimes lobola mahadi, Marosi, you thank them, the people that work with me. One day they're going to give you an invoice. What is important for us to recognize is sometimes, so we use mahadi in a very loose way, right? So we speak about a bride price and about thanking the parents and all of that. What if we thought about the ground that this woman is? And because we thought about the ground that this woman is, we then began to say, we want to provoke this ground to being abundant. Azarias was speaking divine femininity. We want to provoke this ground to being abundant. And we want to put this money as a seed so that the ground can be abundant. And we want to see what kind of fruit are going to emerge from the ground. So now let's imagine if we took that mahadi and we did it like that. And we said we wanted, because all of these concepts that you hear in church, in mosque, in what, sowing a seed, paying a this, that, those things are all way older. So if you took those cows that you are going to bring into the home, those things, you are provoking the people. And by the way, if I don't see any fruit within a set amount of time, I have all the right to take my seed back. and to say, I see that there's no abundance here. The fruit is not moving. So please, here's your person. I would like to take my cows back. I appreciate it. In fact, they have not even given birth here because it's just infertile. There's a lot that's going on here. Can I please have my cows? Can I please have my seed? I'd like to go. We must be those people. It's just unfortunate we don't practice these things. If we are able to practice these things, then we are holding the divine feminine to account. We are holding it to being abundant. And we can say within the space of 2 years, we just want to see. But how do we give you or in the space of a year or so, we give you the amounts, we give you the cows, we give you everything that we need to give you, but we will hold. We will hold and we will wait. And upon people coming and showing us abundance, then we will be able to move through in that way, and we will be able to continue with them, because if that continue, we'll be lost.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
please go for it.
Yeah, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Good, good. Do you have a comment? Do you have a question?
No, I don't have a question. I don't have a comment. I just want to listen.
Oh, okay. No, then let's let you go back down so that you can listen appropriately, and then
Okay.
yeah, you'll be able to come through if you have a comment or a
A
question.
comment. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. Sylvia is coming up. Lizima Rana Stotuma. The people, stop it, stop it. Sylvia, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine. Are you?
Fantastic. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay, I want to say a very big thank you. I have learned so much from you this evening. I've
We
really, really
appreciate
learned.
the indicators of abundance in the background. They are telling us you are abundant.
Wait, let me close my door.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are a lot of things you said that I just wanted to talk on because this topic is really, really important, and especially for women, it's really important because when women understand the kind of power they have, it will make a whole lot of things really easy.
Mhm.
And women carry so much abundance that we don't even know. And the painful thing about women is that they think they don't they give and they give and they forget themselves, right?
Yeah.
And when you give without refilling yourself, you end up being empty. And at some point, you can't give anymore. You begin to produce resentment. You start
Yeah.
producing resentment. You start producing anger. You feel something has been taken away from you. And this starts from being a young girl, then you transfer it into womanhood, and you transfer it into motherhood, and you end up producing seeds that carry this thing from generation to generation. So I had an encounter some weeks back where I was meditating, and when I was meditating, I went into myself, and I usually go to the heart area when I want to ask certain questions.
Mhm.
So this time around, I went to the heart area, and when I went there, it was said to me that this is not where I'll get the answer I was looking for. That I should go to the womb, right? So when I'm meditating, I like to see that inner self. That inner self shows up to me like a staircase. Now, the first stair is leading towards the heart area, and the second stairs was leading down towards the womb.
Mm.
But I was always going towards the heart area. So that day, I really wanted something. I really needed an information, and he said, "You won't get this information here. go to the womb. That was the first time I was noticing that there was another side of that staircase I usually go to during meditation. So when I went there, it was full of dirt, right? I was like, how will this place that is full of dirt be the womb? And the voice replied, it said, this is how you have kept this place. This is how you viewed this place. So it said, take a minute and change the perception you have of yourself, and you will no longer see the dirt. So I didn't do it immediately. I went back. I started trying to change a lot of things about myself. I started trying to go on solo dates. That was why I wrote when you were talking about a woman taking herself out. I started going on solo dates. And when I came back, I couldn't find those dates anymore. So I went into that place. It was a really, really dark hole. So when I entered into the dark hole, it was like something happened, and I metamorphosed into somewhere that was like space. Right? It was just a large space, like the universe, the way they represent the universe. That was what it looked like. Then I saw a long line of women. Then I realized that these were the women that came before me, right? And they had just one request. They just wanted me to find me, that I shouldn't end up like them. That was what they kept saying to me. And I was like, what do you mean by that? They said that if I keep giving, or if I keep thinking that somebody is going to come and save me, that I'll end up here just like them. Then it got to a point where they all joined their hands together and they placed it on top of my hand. I felt goosebumps run through my body, even while meditating. That was when I began to understand a lot of things. I understood that inside every woman are thousands of women crying that the mistakes of the past does not repeat itself again. Because a lot of women let themselves go. They let themselves be. They thought that when they marry, they will be saved. They thought that the end result is somebody coming to marry them and saving them. That is why when I hear this thing of, oh, I must marry a rich man, it gets me really, really uncomfortable. Because many women are carrying riches and abundance within themselves that they neglect.
Yes, ma'am.
And wait till it gets to somebody, till a man comes along. Because when I was growing up, I was always told that I wouldn't marry any kind of man, right? And in my mind, I thought me not marrying any kind of man means that a man was going to come and save me. So when I got into the marriage, I found out I was always depressed. I felt empty all the time, right? And I was always in problem. I was always depressed. I felt empty all the time. Until I realized that the problem is not the man, it's me. Because I'm having too much expectation for the man to come and save me. But that was not the reason why I came here. I'm here to build. What I carry, a lot of people in my family do not understand the kind of gift I have. So I met a man who had what it takes to understand the gift I have. But even if he's giving me, if I do not understand myself, I wouldn't even understand acceptance. I wouldn't even understand how to receive what he has. Because when they tell you that kind of thing, you think that when they say you're supposed to marry this person, that this is a perfect person for you, you think that someone who will just come and give you money. Right? So it took me a while when I started going within myself, study. I realized that everything around me was waiting for me to manifest. It was waiting for me to manifest. It was waiting for me to see myself. And the funny part was when I kept struggling with that thought, I was still battling with the thought. Then I had, I'll call it a dream, right? Where there was light. There was light. A light was given to me. And when it was given to me, when I hold it in my hand, it will shine and cover the entire house, including my children. But when it's given to my husband, it becomes it doesn't shine as bright as mine. When I give it to my child, it doesn't shine that much. So when I woke up, I was asking, what does this mean? He said, the entire house will reflect your light.
That's it.
So my children will give off the energy that I'm giving out. I started developing myself. For my last video, I talked about how I started reading book. I started trying to expand my mind. I started trying to do a lot of things. And I realized that this thing started reflecting on my children. I didn't even know when the change happened. But it happened when I was working in myself. So this is something I want a lot of women to understand, that it's you. You are one with Mother Nature. You are one with Mother Nature. And one thing Mother Nature is known for is abundance. Abundance is not when you have money or when, but abundance is when you in yourself, you are fulfilled. Abundance is when you give. And the funny part is that we don't understand that the seed, even if the man gives the seed, you, the mother, are the one that fixes every other thing. So if you have self-doubt, you have problem with self-esteem, you have problem with unproductivity, you tell on your child. If you have problem with anger and bitterness, you end up producing bitter children. You keep wondering to yourself, where's this character coming from? It's something in you that they are reflecting. It's something in you that you are reflecting. There's a practice I started recently, which I would want every woman to practice, because when I go outside on the barefoot, I just put my hands on the ground and I talk to Mother Nature and I say, you are one with me and I'm one with you. You are abundance. You are a womb that we all live in. So do I have a womb. Bless me as I give you this water. Bless me as I bless you with this water. These are simple rituals that will not really take anything from you. But as someone who does consultation and who does teaching, I've noticed that when women come to you and you are telling them rituals to do for themselves, they're telling you things like, how will I use my menstrues to make sure that my husband is faithful to me? How do I control this man? It's always something different from themselves. It's always, how do I do this to make sure I keep this person in check? How do I do this to make sure I'm like, is this all you people think? Is this all you people think about? Is this all you people think about? That is the problem. So I really like this teaching because it would open the eyes of the eyes and the mind of a lot of women to understand that they are the abundance. A lot of women are living with men who are using their abundance to become abundant, and they are not even aware. This is why you see some of them, the moment the man walks out of their life or begins to misbehave, he would lose everything and he can't even explain why.
I want to just pause it there, Sylvia. I'm being asked. Just pause it, just there, 2 minutes. Let's let Fiona and I want to see this properly, but I'll get it. Let's just let Fiona go. Please don't go, Sylvia. There's something that I'm going to ask you. We're at 83,000 Bahats. We've got about 9 or so minutes left. Let's get to 100. Let's get to 100. Keep on going. Fiona, please give us a little bit of your view.
So thank you for this. And I I totally agree with what you had shared earlier on and with Sylvia, that, for you to access the divine feminine, there needs to be a radical self-acceptance, right? That you are not required to be what society expects you to be. You are required to be who you are, like you say, called to be, yeah? So and you have to accept that sometimes being who you are meant to be is going to be different from what is expected of you generally by society. But until you become you accept yourself and you do things from selfish because I think this is a better way to understand, right? That you have to be selfish with yourself right? With the time that you have, with the resources with that you have, with everything that you are, you have to be selfish. And until you get to truly understand and do things from where you are is when you get to tap into that divine feminine. And that divine feminine that actually allows you to feel fully, like you had said before. Like when it's tears, you cry fully, then you will step into that space, and then you'll now start being able to integrate all these other, your divine feminine, into your daily living with so much ease.
Appreciate it. We are agreeing with you. We are agreeing with me. I'm just listening now. You see, I'm no longer the person that is speaking. Other people have taken over the voice. Is it Wanja?
Hello, yes, it's Wanja.
Yes, please go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for this conversation. It's really amazing, and I think more women should come into this space and get to hear
When
this.
are you mad? Why are you laughing alone?
Why are you pressing join?
Most people are mad.
Um,
Please, can you mute? Thank you. Please continue, Wanja.
Okay, yeah. I was saying I'd like more women to come and hear this, especially the part where you were talking about women being fruits and flowers throughout. Like that's what most women have been conditioned to think, that they can only be fruits or flowers. They can never be in this state where they can just be themselves. They can I liked what you said, beauty with no purpose. Like you're just there, you go within and you fill your cup, because I'm seeing women pouring and pouring and pouring until there's literally nothing left to pour. And that self-preservation also, I think, is very important for the divine feminine to also thrive. And that part should be, I don't know, we need to preach it on a rooftop, because women are burning out so badly, especially with this whole they need to do their corporate job and then come back home and do, be the mother, be the wife, be everything. So women are just constantly pouring out. And until you get to that point where you're like, okay, what about me? What do I need to do? Yeah, I think that's a part of the conversation that is not being had. And I tell women, like, when you'll get to this point when you think of yourself now, not being selfish, but thinking, okay, what do I need? What do I need to do at this point? And if now more men can come and be like, okay, how do I continue uplifting this divine feminine? And that, I think that's also the other side of the conversation that's missing a bit. Because yes, I think more women are coming to the awareness of the divine femininity, but men on the other side they don't even know how to look at it, if I may say. They don't know how to see it in that entirety, that a woman doesn't just have to be fruits and flowers. She can also just be herself. She can be on her own, in her own space, and just refilling her cup. And until that part of the conversation is had, women are going to continue burning out, and it won't be divine feminine anymore. It's going to be performative femininity, and it's really, I really don't like it, and I'm really crying out for women and trying to help them see this other perspective of, you can't just be at rest. You can just be a fruit, a flower, a tree that is not, doesn't have any fruits or flowers, and just be, and it's totally okay. And that's what women need right now, rest, the rest bit of it. But then my other question was, when you talked about finding the balance of when to be soft and when to be hard, because I think I've found myself in that space, because I've seen women before me, in my family lineage, where they're too soft, they're too giving, they're too, they don't know when to say that no. And so for me, I think I made it a point to be the one now who protects myself and preserves myself and not give. So, but then I also found myself in a point where I don't know when exactly to be soft. So I don't know, how do you cultivate that wisdom and finding that balance of softness, but also not overgiving of yourself? And just having that wisdom, I think maybe just shine some light on that.
So I think for me, what is critical is that if you maintain that balance of making sure that you are producing fruit, you are producing flowers, you are producing medicine, right? So you are producing all of those things at the same time. What that then means is that you are also able to notice so let me put it this way. When a person comes into your garden, when you are functioning at 100%, your garden is the ecosystem, right? So the ecosystem will have all sorts of stuff. And I want to purposefully answer this from a spiritual perspective. The garden will have some snakes, some lions, some birds, some bees, whatever the case might be. But all of those different players will be in the system. When that person comes in, the garden itself, so the soil, immediately when that person steps on it, it will tell you. And this is where I think the divine feminine has got to be so in tune. It will tell you that this person requires hardness. This person requires, softness. This person requires this. So it is that being in tune that will then tell you. So that's the first level. I think the second level also is when you have given softness and it has been taken for granted, don't give it again. Thank you so much. We have arrived at 100,000. You are so awesome, you people. I appreciate you. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate the divine feminine that is on this call. I honor you. But I think, Wanja, what's incredibly important is the how do you say, ability at a spiritual level to be able to say, okay, this person has stepped in, and because they've stepped in, this is the sense that I get about this person. At the other level, it is the natural space where you're able to say, no, I don't agree. I've given softness, it's been abused, or I've given hardness and it was too harsh. So it is sometimes a little bit trial and error in certain respects until you master it. So it's not necessarily a space that you are going to be great at initially. So yeah, that for me is something that's important to state. Be clear that you must be gentle with yourself. So be gentle with yourself as well, as you are discovering how these things are working. So I'm going to give a minute each to the two of you. Wanja, if you want to just respond. Sylvia as well, if you want to respond. If you guys just have a minute each, and then after that, I am going to close. I apologize, guys. Yeah, I've also got divine feminine beings that need me to be divinely masculine to them as well. So it's important. It's important that I do the thing that I have been called to as a husband as well. So Wanja, please go. I'll do the summary just now. And then after that, Sylvia.
Okay, thank you so much. I think shedding light on being gentle and analyzing the situation, I think with that I'm able to understand that concept. Yeah, and thank you so much again. I would have liked to ask more about the one who is working the ground, getting the fruit, because now you find you find some people just do that, very selfishly. Like, they know very well you are fertile land in terms of maybe like different things, and they just want to come and just like sow a little bit so that they can now reap everything. So that also, I think we need to dive a bit more into that, because now we're having a bit of some selfish gents who are coming to take everything, and it's really leaving women at a loss. But anyway, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the next conversation.
So I think it is important. We don't need to necessarily wait. So if you go to my profile, everyone that is here, and we can flood that group, please go on my profile. There's a link. That link is the link to the Divine Femininity WhatsApp group. So click there and join. And then I think tonight or tomorrow we'll have the discussion on what it means for someone to plow and to be rewarded. I think we can definitely do that there. Yeah. Sylvia?
So I just want to quickly say something about what she just asked about men who plow and take advantage of a fertile land. I think the thing here is, as women, we should learn to protect ourselves. You should know when it's too much and when you're not getting enough, when it's too much. I think the problem usually is the society we have in. The society does things that fires the male ego, and even when he sees an abundant land, he begins to threaten his ego. He feels like, oh, I'm not good enough. So they want to attack it so that it would make the ego feel better. So this is a time when, as a woman, you should know when to protect yourself. The fact that you're an abundant land or a fertile land does not mean you should let everybody farm on your, or anybody farm on your land. Even the people you let farm on your land, the moment you feel uncomfortable, you cry, because the land does it too. That is why we have things like earthquake and flood. It's the land's way of saying, what you people are doing to me, I am not comfortable with it. It cries, it reacts immediately. So the same thing with the woman. You should know when to say no and when to stand for yourself. But this issue of when women with men, they feel is something that they have to do for a lifetime, and they don't know when to say no. They don't know when to say I'm done, because they're afraid of being criticized by the world. They're afraid of what are people going to say, and you end up realizing that by the time you are done, people will still judge you. People will still say what they want to say. So that's all I have to say for now.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. So, yeah, I think I will have to play it by ear because these next few days are quite hectic. But I meant to have a live either Saturday or Sunday. Still 6:30. Maybe we'll make it a bit longer, 6:30 to 9:30, or somewhere during that time. Maybe we'll make it in the afternoon so that I can have the evening. But the lives happen as follows. So Monday is Divine Masculinity, 6:30 to 8:30. Wednesdays is Divine Femininity, 6:30 to 8:30. And then we have another one on the Divine Family, which I think we will maybe say 3 to 6. Yeah, 3 to 6 on Sunday. Yeah, 3 to 6 on Sunday. So that's the time for the next live. So every Wednesday, we're dealing in these matters, and we're going to keep it like that until I am told to do more and do more and do more. So I wanted to say we spoke about a lot of things, but just on the 3 versions, as it were. We also want to say that as women, you are fertile ground, you're multiplying soil, you're doing all these amazing things. And in the same breath, what is critical for you to recognize is that there are 3 places where you are abundant. On the one hand, you have fruit. You have fruit trees that are around you, and that speaks to your productivity, your achievements, your monies, and all of those things. Then you have flowers that speaks to your beauty, your softness, all of this stuff that, are more quieter, more in the background as well, but that are useful. It's okay to also understand that these are useful. And then, of course, you have the medicinal plants that are also in your garden, and these deserve for you to absolutely see what they are and how you can utilize them. So those are the 3 things, but we've said a lot. We've said a lot in this live, and we have learned and we have really grown. So as is custom with all the lives that I have now, please permit me, if you will, to say a couple of stuff. For those that are not following my profile, please go ahead and follow. For those that are and want to join the Divine Feminine WhatsApp group, there's a link there, we can join. And then after that, for those that would want to engage a little bit further, you can send the DM, or you can send the email, or whatever the case, and then we'll be able to take it forward. Consultations are available, but those are paid for, and we can get into speaking about that dependent on the need. So I want to bless you as I close the live. May your trees be fruitful. May they ever be green. May they be watered by the rivers of beauty and of pain and of love and of life that have run through you. May it be that your flowers bloom and that they absolutely look attractive to you, their owner first, before they do to others. May it be that your medicinal plants would heal you first before they heal the world. May your garden be in balance, and may every weed be uprooted, and may your soil be fertile and multiplying. May you be divinely feminine. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you. I thank you, and I hope that you will have an amazing, amazing, amazing time. We appreciate you, and I thank you for coming into this space. Ashe, amen, thank you, Makwande, Kube Kosi, Lesedi, Khanya, everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and we'll see each other. For those who are just going to tune into this kinds of lives, next week, Wednesday, same time, same place. Shop, shop.